On behalf of the UCM Foundation, I would like to welcome you to our Dream Science and Symbol Interpretation webinar of today. I am presently in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. I am touring with my wife, Christian, and it is a great joy for us to be here in Vietnam and to continue to share this beautiful knowledge. So we are here also for the DSSI training, the Dream Science Symbol Interpretation training that we will do this week. And we just did during the weekend and a retreat in with students from Ho Chi Minh City. And also during the week, last week, we were in Hanoi also, and we did 2 days also sharing over there. So I would like to thank all the volunteers that are helping here in Vietnam. It's so beautiful to see this amazing bonding that this teaching is creating, and also the spiritual autonomy that it brings to all people around the world. So we will start with a dream that is a very interesting one. It's a dream that comes from a person from India, and it's called David's Nightmare. So David had the following nightmare after he spoke to his father for the first time after 12 years. David was asleep on the bed next to me, and it was the middle of the night. He woke up and looked over my shoulder. Upon doing so, in the light of the corridor near the toilet, he sees a fully grown woman who was about 2 feet tall with long hair and a face like an orc, clung to the top of the door like a koala. So in fantasy writings, orcs are a race of creatures who are used as soldiers and henchmen by both the greater and lesser villains of the Silmarillion, the Hobbit, and the Lord of the Rings. So what is the meaning of a dream like this? For sure, because there's a major change in the life of this young teenager, it creates also a lot of awakenings within. This dream is also the announcement of a major change in his personality. Because when we become a teenager, we have a shift in our personality. And it is very difficult to become a teenager. We should have a lot of compassion for them, especially as parents when we have to deal with them, because they can have mood swings. They are not always stable. Sometimes they can be gentle, sometimes they are not at ease, or they can even be angry easily. And this dream is about that, because this young David is such a wonderful, wonderful young man. And he always been so nice and so kind and so also responsible towards the situation of his parents, also taking care of his mother and always being there. But that doesn't mean that through his wonderful gentleness that he was not accumulating tensions, frustrations, a little bit of anger that eventually records in the unconscious and eventually can emerge like a volcano. Because when we enter in teenage years, we have all sort of forces that emerge from us. And these forces don't come only from this life, they can come for sure from past life, because when we arrive at the teenage years, we have a crossroad in our personalities. So that means that we've been raised as children in a certain environment, and then we have the crossroad of our ancient personality that are meeting each other. And this creates a lot of turmoil in the soul of a teenager. And it is quite normal. We need to understand that. It's like a detox situation, and it's like a profound mutation also, where there's more collective information, more expansion also in the consciousness of the teenager. So that mother shouldn't be worried about that. She should only understand that he is now, with this dream, officially entering in the teenage years. And the fact that his father, just he just spoke to his father. Of course, this was um, creating in him some anger and some forces, uh, some warriors' forces that he had even when he was very young. Because even if he was very kind, etc., he could have fought the notions of not having the father near him. And this is why this negative orc appears in his dream. So, so this is interesting because he woke up and looked over my shoulder. What is the meaning of that? So maybe let's have two interpretations. Maybe he just woke up and then he started to have visions. So he was just between two worlds at that moment. Or he was asleep and he was waking up in a dream. So we will take this interpretation because it's an awakening situation. He's waking up from something that was not conscious to him. That is why, he's waking up because he was sleeping regarding his anger, regarding this symbol that he's going to see. And then he looked over the shoulder of the mother. So the mother is related to the fact that it is, he looked over the shoulder. So he looked in the past, he looked in the back. And I'm going to give two interpretations to that because that's very interesting because of the presence of the mother. So the first interpretation, it will be only memories regarding the teenager. So regarding this energy in him, regarding the mother, his inner mother, and forces that he has repressed and that emerges through this orc, which represents in his dream a fully grown woman who was about 2 feet tall with long hair and a face like an orc. So, of course, a face like an orc is not a human, it's more like an animal. So it's related to aggressivity, a lot of intense needs, and a profound personality is in the mother. So regarding the way that he's taking care of himself, and he's just waking up from that. So that because he's meeting anger that he had repressed in his feminine energy that represent her mother. But I'm going to give a second interpretation because this is very possible also that he is waking up and now he's facing the memories of her mother. So because her mother went through a lot of struggle with the father, it was very difficult. Now they have reconnect. It's so beautiful what is happening to this family. It's a beautiful step that we don't see quite often. And the positive thing of this is that she is renewing the possibility for the father to be with his son. She has renewed the connection also, even and eventually opening of restarting a relationship. She did an amazing and very profound sharing during the DSSI training. And this is why normally I don't make the connection because we keep this anonymous, even the names are different here. But those who were there, know the story very well because she shared it very openly and it was very beautiful, very touching. And because she's now forgiving, she's learning to have more clemency, and she has used this teaching to really reconnect in the positive way and to try to turn the page, to write a new chapter in her life. Instead of keeping angers and frustration from 12 years ago, she started to give a second chance to the possibility and of the father to renew a beautiful contact. And eventually, maybe this can emerge a new relationship between the two of them, and she hasn't closed the door of that. She's just waiting, and she's doing this step by step with a lot of wisdom also, and that is very, very beautiful. So this dream, the second interpretation, might be in connection with the son, with David, that has seen the past memories of the mother. So this anger that she must have kept inside over a long period of time. And this was right after the moment he spoke to his father 12 years ago. So this was probably a way for him to balance and to understand that his mother had things also to work on herself. She was not totally perfect about the situation and the way she reacted. Of course, she reacted to protect her son, to protect herself, because there was very profound, difficult moment when there was a separation. It was not just only arguments. So it was very intense, and it was leading to the path of violence and difficulties. So, but the son may have seen the energy of her mother from the past, understanding that her mother could have kept inside a lot of anger and a way to see the mother differently also. And this son is very open on the spiritual level. He's very amazing. It's an amazing soul, really beautiful. And their mother also, so both of them have done an amazing spiritual journey together. So, and this is why this new step can happen. So it is important for the son to understand that it might be only parts of him, or he may have visited his mother, and he may have been waking up from understanding that it is not only the father that was not right, that it was also her. And through resonance, they were fighting, there were difficulties, but both of them were in connection with the situation. Even if often, one of the spouse can be a victim and the other one is the aggressor, we always have a connection between aggressor and victim. We are not a victim by coincidence, because in a past life we have done the same thing and we have attracted the difficulties. That's very important to understand the law of resonance in terms of karma, in terms of the notions that we reap what we sow, that we have prepared this situation in our life, we have attracted the situation. So how the son can understand if it's him only or if it's his mother in this dream, it will be very simple. When he woke up in the morning, having these notions of the orc energy, of course inside he was struggling, or he was not happy. It could have been, of course, a mixed feeling in him, not necessarily a total manifestation of anger, but he must have felt something inside that was like, that little forces that you cannot explain sometimes when you are a teenager and that you feel inside. If it was not the case, if when he woke up from this dream, he was okay, very nice, no problem, so then he went to visit his mother and he was able to connect with the energy. So it is very important to understand that when we want to identify a dream, is it only me, or am I visiting the person? When we are visiting the person, we are more neutral. When we wake up in the morning, we are stable. We are not necessarily, all upside down, or we are not struggling or angry or whatever. So we have a certain kind of neutrality and we feel it, of course, because when we have a nightmare, we wake up and we are scared. We are like in a little bit of turmoil because there's a lot of mixture of energies of positive and negative memories in us. So that's for this dream. Let's now analyze another dream that is a person that is originally from the UK, or the region of the UK. So the dream is called Prince Philip to be cleansed. Um, a rather bloated-faced middle-aged helper is looking after a difficult, temperamental, elderly woman. She finds it she finds it easier when the daughter or another woman is there to talk to the elder. It allows her get on with her work. The scene 2. The king, Prince Philip, that has retired from service, tendency to negative humor, superiority complex. That's how she defines the negative aspects of the Prince Philip, has decided he wants to go for a walk. So the two young men there simply have to change any plans they may have had and accompany him. One of them is wearing a dark gray suit with a wide spaced pinstripe. The left shoulder insert is raised out of the kilter. I smooth it down for him. I am outside with the woman helper and say, "It's raining, so the king will need a raincoat." Prince Philip is down a slope in a gentleman outfitter's having a raincoat fitted. It takes ages, and meanwhile the weather is fine again outside. I say this aloud. We women wait a little further on, and Kaya comes to join us wearing his black overcoat, slightly younger than nowadays. I'm liking a large green and white salad spoon. I'm licking a large green and white salad spoon, waiting, feeling impatient toward Prince Philip. Kaya, standing a little below us women, gently says, "Some people dominate others' action." And I say, "And we let them." Kaya replies, "Yes, for this person has been brought up like this and has no notion of time. We wait." What is the meaning of that? We will study that together. That's a very, very interesting dream. But this dream is all about the person. You know, the Kaya, it represents her inner Kaya. The prince is there, Philip represents her inner prince, etc. So let's study that together. So a rather bloated-faced, middle-aged helper is looking after a difficult, temperamental, elderly woman. She finds it easier when the daughter or another woman is there to talk to the elder. It allows her get on with her work. What is the meaning of that? First, this woman has a family, and I'm sure she can make a connection with her family, her sister, and certain member of her family that can have these difficult temperament, and she always has some issues with them when it's time to discuss, when it's time to open up a little more. So of course she has a resonance with that because it affects her sometimes, even if she is very good at dealing with that because she has a lot of knowledge. We can see the Kaya that is appearing in a dream means that she has knowledge, but she can tend to let people that are elders or people that are in power or that are important somehow to be more important than her. And she could sometimes be too much at service, and she can let her being put down by people, not saying anything and being kind and trying to help them, and having this form of relationship where you help someone and the other person is never happy. When we have this kind of conditions in our life, let's say we have an elder that is living with us, or we have a situation where we are taking care of our parents or uncles or auntie, or we should have the wisdom to also help them to evolve. We should not let them have negative temperamental attitude just because they are elders. We should be able to say to them directly, I would like, so is it possible for you to change your attitude? Because I'm here to help you, and I don't have to have this negative energy. So, and certain people, without knowing what they have done through time, especially with their parents, they have created dictators around them. They have created prince and kings and queens attitudes because they have never said anything. They have let others develop a bad temperament without saying anything, in the name of harmony, in the name of love, in the name of wisdom also, thinking that it's better not to say anything than to create a conflict. But because of that, the person started to dominate and started to be even more picky and even more difficult. It is like a child. When you say to a child always yes, and you never say any no to a child, eventually the child will, really be dominating, and he will be not nice and not polite, and he will exaggerate, and he will have needs that are not normal, and he will abuse of his power and abuse of others also. And so we do not help someone when we do not when we do not put things clear. And we should be capable of talking to anyone, even if it's our father or mother. Of course, if you have never done this ever, you cannot go right away and open up after this webinar and you start to talk to your father or mother and you open up everything that they have done that are not right, because they will explode. And so you will need to gradually start again. Homeopathically, you will need to say certain things to create an evolution process in the person. So you will say politely, respectfully, but you will say, could you please just have a better energy? Your energy is not very good now. You don't have to be angry at me. I am here to help you. And then, because the elder has never heard that, he may react. He may suddenly react intensively. So you let him digest this, because it's already a big deal. But you continue. You continue. If it's needed, then you continue to discuss after a few minutes. You say, it's not because you're sick. It's not because that that you need to be always unhappy and you always put us down and you're not polite with us. And then we interact, like we would do with a child. And in the worst of the worst scenarios, let's say that the elder is very reacting and he's very angry and he's very not respecting and, in an extreme way, then eventually you can say, listen, maybe I'm not the right person to help you. I love you, Dad, I love you, Mom, and I'm happy to help you, but maybe I'm not the right person to help you. Maybe you should have a helper. Maybe we should organize something for you, or you can go in a home where you can have services and I'll come to see you occasionally, but not that often, because it's not really, I don't want to do this 20 years with you and having like an orc face and having to face this all the time and fighting for little things like this. And one day we need to have a serious conversation. We need to wake them up. a little bit. So let's analyze this, because this is talking about that. This is talking about the person can be sometimes dominated by others because she's too gentle and she doesn't talk enough. So we see here, because she has memories also, we need to understand that when we have a person in our family that has like, a difficult, temperamental, elderly woman like this, we tend to respect these people. We think this, we see them like very important. We think, they are, because they have a strong authority. We tend to put the ears down, and we tend to be dominated, and we submit ourselves to them because we are impressed by these forces of affirmation. And we have all kinds of concepts in us. It's an elder person. I need to respect my father. I need to respect my mother, my sister, because she's elder than me. And this is how it should be in family. This is not right. This is like, imagine a society where you have a government, and the government is not acting well, and the population is not saying anything. So what is going to happen? The government will be eventually a dictatorship. It will become corrupted. It will become not listening to the population, only thinking about themselves, bringing more and more and more and more privilege, etc. So you are also, the dreamer is also that temperamental elderly woman. She has a percentage of that. Of course, she has so much knowledge now, so much wisdom also, because she's been doing the DSSI training, also dream sign symbol interpretation training, for many years. So she's quite advanced, and she's one of our top students. So she's it is a percentage of her that she has in her, where without the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge that she has today, she could have become an elderly woman with a difficult temperament. So this will not happen, of course, but she still has memories in her at certain percentage, because we see this in this dream, and we see that she doesn't have yet the wisdom to complete also the cycle of understanding and of growth that knowledge does within us when we begin to change and act properly by facing certain type of situation. So then she finds it easier when the daughter or another woman is there to talk to the elder. So this is you see the helper. So you tend to want to have emotional connection, because you are a type of person that will, when you help them, let's say you help your sister, because I remember your sister is not easy for you. So when you help your sister, you become this helper. You disconnect yourself from the emotional aspect. So you this way you feel more solid in this condition. One day we can keep our emotion in us. We don't disconnect. We don't say, this is a stranger, I'm just a helper, it's my work, I'm doing my job. We can emotionally connect, but our emotions are so wise. Our emotions are so profound, so knowledge-oriented, that when we connect, we can feel, we can perceive things, but it is not creating a negative resonance in our emotions. We can continue to love, but at the same time, we understand this person is going through difficulties. We understand this person is having memories. She has a background. She didn't have a happy life like you've had, etc., etc. So and she may have lived by duties all the time, forcing herself to do things. That happens a lot for those who becomes elder. They've been people like really on the duties, helping, forcing themselves to help others, being like living like saints, often taking care of others, the mother, etc., etc. And then when they grow up and they become elders, they have expectation. They want others to do the same, and then they dominate, they manipulate, because they are more they are weaker than before, so they are unhappy, and they transfer their frustration and they put pressure on others, so others need can take care of them the way they want. So, and that's also the type of mentality that when we become an elder, I need to be the boss. I am the queen. I am the prince. I am the king of the family. So I deserve respect. And we should always, yes, deserve respect, but when we are right, not when we are not right. So even younger people should be able to say to the elders, Papa, Mama, we love you, but you don't have the right attitude now. If we would have done this to you when we were young, you would not have been happy. So you would have told us, you need to change your character. So this is takes a lot of wisdom, because what happens is when elders are there, the notions of the prince and the queen and the king starts to be there because of inheritance, because of money, because of power. Elders, they have money, they have resources, they use their money, they use their inheritance often to manipulate, some of them, of course, to manipulate, their children. So the one that is there, the one that is very devoted, the one that is taking all the, the the bad temper on their shoulder, then they think that they deserve to have the money. And this is creating not a very good ambience. So when we have parents like this, we should have the wisdom to become independent financially and do our things, and not to expect their money, at all cost. So we should stay with our values. We should not be in a motion where we corrupt ourselves to be helping someone just to make sure we have our share of inheritance. This is very wrong to think like this. And there's a lot of people that are playing the games in the name of money, and in the name of they let themselves being dominated, and they can have 30 years. Sometimes the elder can die at the age of 98 years old, and you have 78, 80 years old, and then you're an elder yourself, and you have suffered all your life, given sometimes 30 years of your life to your parents, and they were not right with you. And you think it was your duty to do that. This is not right. This is because there are expectations. You let yourself being dominated, and this should not be right to do that to our children. We should expect, when we are an elder, we should want and we should expect the best for our children. We should want them to have a happy life. We should help them to have a happy life, not to push, not to put pressure on them, or to become a burden for them, or to live with them and to complain all the time. With all the love I have for my mother and for my father, they cannot live with me. They can. We are in 2017 now, and we don't live in a world of survivals. Of course, if we would be, living in survivals in countries where, you have no choice to take your parents, I would find a way to try to help them. Of course, I would not, you cannot leave your parents in the street if you don't have the possibility to organize something for them. Then yes, you need to find a way to take care of them. But there are many ways also to learn to do this the right way, even when we don't have a lot of resources. So it's a challenge, of course, but it can be, you know, it can be arranged, and there's a lot of wisdom that needs to be done. But when it's not an obligation, then it is wise to make sure our parents will have their place and will have the help, the support. Yes, we are there to help, but uh, we cannot be servants for the rest for 25 years of our life to our parents because they have raised us. So we can organize help if they need help, if they need medical treatments. So sometimes if it's too heavy, they need to be in a hospital or in a home where they can have medical services 24 hours a day, because unless you don't take care of your children, you completely disbalance your life, unbalance your life with your husband, with your wife, etc. And an elder that is pushing to break the life of his child just to have something in return, this is very wrong, and we shouldn't let them do that. Of course, if we have an elder that is so wise and such a sage person, it's so great because he's at home helping the children, and he's wise because he's not interfering, you know, in the education of the children, or he doesn't, interfere in the couple of, in the relationship of his daughter or son, whatever. So that requires a lot of wisdom. But even that, they can live close, but they can have their own space, their small apartments on the side of the apartment, or just the other apartment, near. So this way, yes, we can have a beautiful connection. There's nothing wrong to have elders near us, but to live with them all the time, and if when they don't have a good attitude, whoa, this is really, really demanding, really demanding. And it's not right also, because it's pumping the energy of everybody, and it doesn't create a good climate, a good energy for them also. So even if I love my father and mother, so they are at a certain age right now, and they are independent, and they've been, living like this, and they are happy like this. They don't require, or they don't request us to have them at home. So this is good, because it's better like that. So this way we can see them, of course, but we don't have to be there all the time. And in modern worlds like today, there are beautiful possibility to organize this the right way for our parents. So, and I know in India, I know Vietnam, I know in certain countries, it's still the ancient mentalities. But when we have enough resources, we should organize something very beautiful for our parents. They can have an apartment near us, yes, but not living with us. It's not the right thing to do. And so, and I even seen. I remember very recently, there was a place where we shared beautiful moments and beautiful people, very open spiritually, but simultaneously the grandfather was sleeping with the children, the young children, sleeping with them all the time in the same bed, you know. And this is not right to do that. You never know, even if your father is a good person, it's like it's not normal for the children to always sleep with the grandparents. The grandparents should have their bed, their room, not sleeping with the children all the time. So this is not right. This is not the right energy for children also, because an elder he has his issues. He can, and it's not appropriate. Also, it can create, in the worst scenario, incest and aspects like this. But even if this cannot happen, because this is not happening everywhere, this form of situation, but children should have their space. And it's very important not to have an elder that is not necessarily quite happy with life being, near the children like this, because it doesn't create a good energy for the children. So we should be careful about that. Sometimes we are too practical in our way of thinking. We want to help too much others. We match things that shouldn't be matched necessarily. It's not wise to do that. So so in this dream, you are the helper, and you are this middle age, you are this elderly woman, so with a difficult temperament. So you see the way also you interact with others, your capacity, and you requires the daughter and another woman. It's better to talk to the elder, so you can have a distance. So this is you have a tendency to distance yourself, and that's how you protect yourself. You kind of sometimes disconnect yourself from helping and being in contact with your emotions. And you can also expose yourself of just saying, okay, I need to be there, I need to talk to them, I need to to expose myself to that negative energy without saying anything. And we will know why now, because the next scene, this is not a second dream. That's important to understand. When we have a second scene, it's like the second scene explains the first one. That's how we should see it. So the king, Prince Philip. So of course he's not a king. If you know about the United Kingdom, he's a prince. So you see, just the fact that you say the king, because there's a queen, but he's not officially the king. Because it's a queen that is. That's interesting to understand that, because he doesn't have a full power. So, we can see the importance of the title, and this is the problem in you, because elders for you are like kings and queens, and because they are elders and they have suffered through their life and they have worked hard to help the family, and you take all this in consideration and you make them so important. And that's what happened when we are too materialistic in our vision of people. We calculate efforts in terms of matter, in terms of money, in terms of work, in terms of, instead of evaluating a person in terms of qualities, the metaphysical dimension. For me, whatever an elder has done, even if he worked hard and this and that, for me, it was his path, it was his karma, it was his good life also that he needed to live. The good and evil are part of life, and he has created this life for himself. So life is all about decisions and making a step. A step leads to another one, and another one leads to another one. So life is full of decisions, of personal decisions, and also of course, of the path of destiny, which you deserve your destiny. Your destiny is done in accordance with what you have done in past life. So you deserve what happens to you. You reap what you sow. So through that, you learn. And there's nothing wrong in life. It's only experimentation. So we see here that you tend to put a lot of importance, and you explain the negative aspects of the Prince Philip that has retired from service. You see, that has retired. You start from that. That has retired from service. So you see how this is exactly how people see elders when they give them too much importance, because they see them that they have given their life to their work, to their children, to society, and that's why they are unhappy. But that's not true. They haven't done their life the right way. They have created frustrations. They have accumulated negative memories. They have been neglecting relationship. They have put down others. They have judged them. They have repressed memories. That's why they are like that. Because whatever life is, even if it's difficult and very difficult, we can end up in our life being wise and happy on all levels. So then tendency to use negative humor. So you see, you will tend to accept elders that will be having a bad humor because of service and etc. So superiority complex. So you can have this also because you have done a lot for your children and you can require also too much from them, you know. So sometimes we can say, oh, we have given a proper education to our children. We have worked hard, and the father worked hard for that. And sometimes we can take someone that is not totally right and we give them compliments and we build the ego when we do that. We build a person with an ego. We should always give compliments when things are right, not when a person is like acting with an ego and then suddenly we add compliments while the person doesn't have a good energy because it creates eventually an ego, personality. So Prince Philip has decided he wants to go for a walk. So he's in a negative energy because you describe it as negative energy. It could have been positive, of course, you're Prince Philip, but this is you. You have to understand this is a part of you also. Part of you that will have a superiority complex, that will think you are important sometimes. And it's in your masculine energy, so in your manifestation. So you can think you are important when you do certain things, when you even, you can work hard, you can be, you can have in the back of your mind a need for recognition because it's not totally unconditional. And so Prince Philip has decided he wants to go for a walk. So the two young men there simply have to change any plans they may have had and accompany him. So you see how your memories, because of course in this life these are percentage in you because you're such a good person, but you can have these notions where you can be very official when you ask for something because in your frequency you can say you have to do this and this and that because we are your parents and you deserve respect for us for what we have done for you. You can have this ancient mentalities in you, and in these form of energies in terms of percentage in your case, of course, but without spiritual knowledge you would have grown this way. You would have become probably like that with your husband. And so the two young men there simply have to change any plans. So you see, and this is really this notions where and you have two children also, so that's interesting. You have two young men as children. So you can see, through this Prince Philip also, you can see sometimes the energy that you can have in regarding the way that you approach certain situations and manifest sometimes, even if it's light in your energy, because these will be percentage, it is there. So one of them is wearing a dark gray suit with a wide spaced pinstripe, and the left shoulder insert is raised out of the kilter. I smooth it down for him. So you see, you even prepare the person to accompany the prince. And so that is the complication sometimes where, for example, you go to see your sister in the UK or in this region, and then you do lots of things for her, and you can become at her service, and you put yourself down to help too much someone by respect, by this, because she has done this, she has taken care of your mother, she has done this and that, and you value this, and you value the duties too much, the service, this aspect. instead of understanding that, if you're not a good person, whatever you have done, you're not a good person. For me, when I analyze someone, I don't analyze someone and I say, oh, he has done this and that and this and that, so it's normal that he is like this, and he, whatever, or he's rich and he has so much responsibility, so it's okay that he's not nice with people. No, no, no. For me, he's just like not being capable of handling responsibilities, and he's using the negative aspects of abundance. So that's how I'm going to see this situation, or that kind of personality. And then after, I am outside with the woman helper and say, it's raining, so the king will need a raincoat. So you see, you will think too much, you will be too much in the helper energy sometimes, because you're king, because it's not even the prince, you say the king. You see how you can create sometimes for you. Let's take the example of your sister again. So you can even put yourself, not put yourself, but put your sister on a pedestal, and you can give her too much importance. And that's why you go from prince to king, and king to prince, and then the king will need a raincoat. It's like, so you think too much for them, so they cannot have emotional problems, because the rain is related to emotions. So you want to protect them. You want too much to protect them, to protect an elder, to protect your sister, to protect someone that is important. And you will have this kind of energy probably with all form of elders. Even they are grumpy and this and that, and you will tend to think in terms of, oh, they have done so much, to help, they have done this and that, and you think materialistically their life, and you ease their life, so this way they can continue to be grumpy, because most of the time it doesn't change them. Often they don't even say thank you. you know so, and we do this and we do everything, would you like this and that, we go, oh, you're gonna catch a cold, grandma, let me give you this, and oh yeah, no, that's okay, wah wah wah. And they're like this. When we have elders like this, I let them be themselves, and I'm not overdoing it. It doesn't mean I'm not going to be helping. If elders is 19 years old and he cannot walk or whatever, I'm not going to let him be in difficulties, but I'm not going to overdo things. I'm going to let him take his vest, take time to put his vest. And, I'm not going to try to help too much, because sometimes you try to help and they say, no, 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 I'm okay. I'm okay. And then they reject you, with like such an energy. And people sometimes, they continue to do it. They know they will be rejected, but they have too much a mindset that is linked, oh, he's old, poor him, it's difficult, and he has worked all his life, and he was working in a factory. And you have all these notions in you, and you justify their temper, their bad temper. You even try to make them doing as less possible efforts. So for me, I let them do efforts. I wait for them to ask me. And if I really see there's a problem, then I can help. But I'm going to do like I will do with a child. Because a child, sometimes, when you want to do too much for the child, he's going to say, no, no, mama, no, papa, I want to do it. I'm capable, I want to do it. So I want them to be independent. So I respect their independence, even if they are elders. So, but you see, you are going to overthink about creating the best environment for them, so they don't have any emotional problems or difficulties. And you are going to be too picky. You're going to be too picky, and you're going to be too detailed in the way that you help. It's going to be like really like, and it's you're going to do too much. So then Prince Philip is down a slope in a gentleman's outfitters, having a raincoat fitted. It takes ages, and meanwhile the weather is fine again outside. So you see, you try to you try to help, you try to put everything and this and that, and you haven't even felt that it was not necessary. So you see, when we want to overdo things, we want to do too much, and doing too much also creates non-synchronicities. And then we women wait a little further on, and Kaya comes to join us wearing his black overcoat, slightly younger than nowadays. I'm licking a large green and white salad spoon, waiting, feeling impatient toward Prince Philip. What is the meaning of that? There's a lot of symbols in that are strange, sort of. Kaya is arriving and you're licking a large green and white salad spoon. This is not quite normal. So first, the Kaya arrives and he joins us. So the Kaya is like you had in the scene before a lack of synchronicity because you have helped too much in trying to put the raincoat to the prince and king, whatever. And then it doesn't work. So then it's okay. So now you begin to activate the knowledge because there's a misaction. And then you start to, oh, why is that? Why is that happening? So you start to think more deeply now. But when you start deeply to think what is happening to you, you begin to have needs, personal needs. A spoon. A spoon is like a tool, if we can say that is used when we are young. When we are young, normally, or for a soup, of course, but or dessert, whatever. But the spoon is really something that creates the capacity to have a lot of food. Because the fork, you can lose a little bit of food sometimes, depending on the texture and the density of the food. So the spoon is, the negative aspects of the spoon is we want to have as much as possible because with a spoon you can do like it can become like you can put a lot of food on it. So you have a lot of needs, and this is when your spiritual, when your spiritual symbol appears. So normally it should be wisdom, but it is your own needs that are appearing. So that is quite interesting there. And it's a large green and white salad spoon. It's a big one. You see, this is not a small one. So you see, salad is related also to sentiment, feelings. It's green, color green. It's the fourth chakra, so the heart chakra. So it's related to the nature, to the feelings. So plants, the vegetable kingdom is related to feelings and sentiments, emotions. So you need a lot of nourishment on the feeling level because you had a lack because your prince is not thinking about you. Your elder, your sister is not thinking about you. So when you go and visit her in the UK, and in the region of the UK, I have to say, because it's not directly the UK. So it creates when you are with your sister, because you're so perfect, you're so like the perfect helper. You're taking care of Madame, you're taking care of the prince and the queens and everyone in such a delicate matter that it's not natural because it's too much and they are not nice with you. You don't receive anything. So it creates in you a lot of lacks and a lot of needs because of that. So that's why you're licking, licking, it's like a child that wants, when we do like a cake, for example, We can lick the spoon, of chocolate, whatever. Now it's salad, etc. And it's white. White is spirituality, green is sentiments. And you're waiting and you're feeling impatient toward Prince Philip. So you see, knowledge so creates wisdom, but it creates frustrations. So that's because, so how is this thing will happen to you? For example, you're going to start to help your sister, you're going to be very delicate, you're going to be very this and that, and then eventually you're going to have too much. You're going to start to analyze her symbolically because you're not happy, not because you are using wisdom. So sometimes you are too much pleasing the prince and the princess, your sister, whatever. You're pleasing too much, so you're good at that at the beginning, and eventually you are fed up by doing this. You stop, you start to analyze negatively with the kaya that arrives because you have too much intense needs, and you become impatient. And that's why you need the knowledge to rebalance this, because you don't feel good about that. And Kaya, standing a little below us women, gently says, some people dominate others. And standing a little below us women. So how come? This is strange. So it means that the women are upper and the Kaya is down. So you see, you have also a complex of superiority towards spirituality, symbols also, a teacher. So you can think sometimes you are more important, superior. So, and that's why you have this in you. It's in your concept. It is your inner kaya, of course. So you will dominate your knowledge, sort of, interiorly, because it's only women that are there. So it represents your feminine polarity, your inner worlds. Inside, no one's going to see that. It's very subtle how you are going to manage your complex of superiority and inferiority. So, but you can even feel, let's say you see myself and I give an example, whatever, I give an explanation, whatever, you could even sometimes feel a little superior in the way you receive the information because you have it in your dream. So, and one day we are equal. You are not inferior and we're not superior. So, and I say, and let them, Kaya replies, Kaya standing a little below us women, gently says, some people dominate others, actions. And I say, you answer, the dreamer, and we let them. Yes, that's correct. So you begin to understand that you have let your sister, you have let people, elders, whatever, dominating you, even when they are not right. In the name of they have done a lot of service, they have been doing a lot for the community, whatever. So you will tend to give too much importance on materialistic service actions that people have done, instead of evaluating a person towards the temper and the character and the qualities that the person has. So yes, for this person has been brought up like this and has no notion of time, we wait. So you see, it means that you have been brought like this over a long period of time, having this notion. And this is interesting because in the UK, we see this a lot. There's the positivity in the UK, remember, always plus and minus for all countries. So it's UK has also a lot of great things, great qualities. But the negative aspects, we see in this country a superiority complex. Even when they talk, sometimes they can have some of them, not all of them. So, because when you don't have that in you, you talk differently. But some of them will talk like this, and yes, my darling, it was like this, and then, and they have this certain, I'm not even doing this right. I don't have the UK accent enough, but they will talk a little, they will talk in a certain way. But I'm sure you know what I mean. I don't have to try to imitate it. It's something we have all noticed. So we feel this energy of superiority. So when you have someone that is talking like this and the pitch of the tonality frequency is high, it's because the person is really, listening to herself and really thinking that what she says or what she does is very, very important. So, that's the very interesting aspects of this dream. So let's take an intermission now of 5 minutes, and we come back to continue our webinar. So let's continue now with another dream, so that that will help us to understand very interesting symbols. So the dream is called driving. In my dream, I am with lots of people, known and unknown. We are outside, or maybe on a ship. I see my friend Kara. On the negative side, appears social, strong, and confident, but needs to work on herself more. And others. Kara is this strong and happy person and interacting confidentially with someone new. But then Kara lets them know that she's had a lot of challenges too, to be who she is now, such as bringing up her son Samuel, who has autism. I got up the steps of a building to call my friend Nadia, so that represents joyful and warm, to check if she's free to join us. But she is busy with her family having a celebration for a family member's birthday on the first floor. She is with her sisters and parents. I understand seeing cakes, joyful faces, laughter while they are making preparation. The next scene, I remember it is at night. A narrow pathway may be leading out of a car parking. I only see too many cars going along this path or trying to go along this path, but I'm finding my way and I'm driving a white car. I have the skill to drive as am I driving at the right speed and right way. I woke up amazed that I was driving. So let's analyze this. This is an interesting dream. So first, at the beginning, remember, friends, that a dream is like a sequence of information, and all symbols will be meaning something and will add it to the next symbol also. It's like a story. It's like algebra of consciousness. So I'm with lots of people, so unknown and known and unknown. So the meaning of that, it is touching our collective dimension. It's connecting with our social life. So the dream will be all about our social life. So we are outside or maybe on a ship. So it is related also to outside, the way we manifest on the social level with others. Or maybe on a ship, the way we interact on the emotional level, because the ship is on water. Water is emotion. I see my friend Kara, and Kara, the negatives, appears social, strong, and confident, but needs to work on herself. So you see, this is a part of you in relationship that you sometimes tend to show yourself very, very strong in front of people, but you still have to work on yourself and others. Kara is this strong and happy person and interacting confidentially with someone new. So you see, when you have someone new, you can tend in social environment to be like Kara. So you tend to be, you appear strong, etc. But you have things to work on yourself, and you have a complex of superiority, and you think that you have, achieved, everything, and that you know more than than what you really know in depth. And that's why you have this symbol that appears. The universe wants to tell you that sometimes you overdo it, and you think that you are important and what you say is all understood, but it's not the case. You appear too strong on the social level. So, but then Kara lets them know that she's had a lot of challenges too to be who she is now, such as bringing up her son Samuel, who has autism. So, uh, uh, so because you have put Kara negatively, uh, we can see in this aspect, it could have been positive to say the truth about ourselves, but you can tend also not just to be strong, but you can tend sometimes to put yourself down or to to be a little in a pity mode, saying, "Oh, I've done so much and I've worked on, there was," but it's not. But it's you tend to do too much to have the attraction of people, to have the recognition of people, and you can even use information of saying that everything is has not been have not always been easy for you, and you can even use the the social spiritual talk in a sense. So and now you explain even that you had to raise your son Samuel, who has autism. So you can explain that you needed to work on aspects that were having discrepancies, because a sun represents your emissive energy and a discrepancy between being capable of feeling others. And that's why sometimes we can appear to be very strong, socially speaking, but we hide aspects where we can reject others. So we can go from one energy to another. We want so much, and we are very alive and having a lot of interaction at the beginning, and then at the end of the evening or at the middle of the evening we just want to go out. We want to get out. We don't interact. We don't have necessarily a stability in our personality. We're good at the beginning, and then after we have instability. So I go up the steps of a building to call my friend Nadia. So that's another part of you, and you present it positively as a joyful and warm person to check if she's free to join us. But she is, and you go up to the steps, you see? So that is at another level, and that's another level of your consciousness. You have this connection with your friend Nadia. You have also this energy in you. So this is like an aspect. Sometimes you do a little too much, and simultaneously you say, I have challenge and this and that, and it was not easy in life, and simultaneously you can have a lot of joy, on the being with people. These are certain interesting aspects in personalities sometimes, that we can be so happy, so we trigger a beautiful energy of happiness, of gathering, etc. Simultaneously, we do too much, and we also say that it was difficult, but we are so happy to share. You see how energies can have multiple angles. But she is busy with her family, having a celebration for a family member's birthday on the first floor. So there's nothing wrong with that. She's busy. She has something to do, but this is you. At the same time, this is happening, and you are also the other aspects of yourself. So she is with her sisters and parents, and I remember seeing cakes, joyful faces, laughter while they are making preparations. So it seems all positive. You describe Nadia as a joyful person. So this is you also. You have this potential also of being happy, loving people, caring for people, wanting, to have a beautiful interaction. So this dream until now is not only negative, it is also quite positive. It explains that you do a little too much sometimes. You put yourself a little, in the challenge, and explain this. Simultaneously, you have a lot of joy to be with people, So in you, a lot of joy, even if they are at another place, it is you. The connection is not totally done, but it is a potential in you. And then the next scene is interesting, because you are very amazed because you're driving, when you woke up. So I remember this night, a narrow pathway may be leading out of a car parking, and I only see too many cars going along this path or trying to go along this path, but I'm finding my way and I'm driving a white car. I have the skill to drive as I am driving at the right speed and right way. What is the meaning of that? This means that you are now more capable of advancing on the social level, because a car is a symbol of how we advance on the social level. It is more and more easy for you to advance on a social level now, and you're capable of driving more your life, even when there's a lot of action, a lot of things. And the fact that you were parked, being parked is that we don't advance. We are stuck somewhere, or we are waiting for something, which is okay. It can be positive to be part, and it can be negative. But now the fact that you succeed to drive, you succeed to get out, and there's a lot of cars, so you succeed to manifest yourself more on the social level by yourself, you know. And this is what this dream is. You have the joy in you, and you have also the capacity to talk, but even if it's a little too strong sometimes, but you still handle this constructively. So the meaning of this dream is you are going to a next step now, and you want to go to meet others. You may have been during a period of time where you are not interacting enough with people. You were more like a hermit working on yourself, and now you're ready to get out. You're ready to advance in life, and you're ready and you feel good about this because you go at the right speed and in the right way. You're not overspeeding, or you're not going too slow, etc. So this is positive. So you are capable, and you want to advance, and you have the capacity now not just to be parked in the parking lot, but you're ready now to advance. So that is why you have received this dream. This dream is announcing things you need to work on, but a great joy that you have inside, and a wish to share with others, because the car helps you to advance on the social level. So that is an interesting dream also. So another one now that is called the elevator. So in my dream, I meet two of my girlfriends. They do not know each other. Grace, she learns face diagnosis and cybernetic therapy. And Macy, a DSSI student, friendly, somehow I feel uncomfortable in her presence. We're watching TV in a big room. Then after, in this dream, their behaviors were totally different from reality. They were uncomfortable and didn't even want to answer my question when I told them about an incident that happened at the downstairs elevator. I told them my story. I don't know why I had to tell them, since both of them were with me in the elevator when the problem happened. And when I asked them, it was like nothing had happened. Here is the story. I had been upstairs by the outside elevator, and three of us had stayed inside. Suddenly, three board chairman had come in. The boss was foreign, white, with white skin. He flirted with one of my friends. I felt uncomfortable with their behaviors. They said that if the elevators drops, it would be fun. I couldn't believe that the board chairman could be a silly thing like that, could say a silly thing like that. Suddenly, the elevator dropped. It tumbled into the sea, rolling over the water, and then drifted to the shore. I didn't know how come I was still alive. I came back to the building and asked why to one of the three board chairmen. He was Vietnamese. He explained to me that he was asked to take part in this testing, and that they intentionally caused the accident to check my reaction. He had experienced it twice. That's a very interesting dream. You'll see the personality sometimes can take different angles to live different types of situation. So let's analyze this. I meet two of my girlfriends. So two is the relationship with others. Girlfriends related to feminine energy. It is part of your inner worlds, and it's related also to friendship, how we share with others, how we help others, each other also. So they do not know each other. So you see, so these are parts that are not totally in connection. So you begin to develop more your interaction with others. Your different kinds of friendships also are meeting each other. Grace, she learns face diagnosis and cybernetic therapy, and Macy, a DSSI student, friendly somehow. I feel uncomfortable in her presence. So, well, and they were watching TV in a big room. So, you see these two girlfriends that represents two persons that are on a spiritual path. So, because both of them are learning on a spiritual approach. So, and learn about symbolic language also, because one is doing face diagnosis and in cybernetic therapy also. So that's part of analyzing also. So then what is going to happen will be interesting, because in this dream their behaviors were totally different from reality, because it's you know. So, and the TV, the big room, and the fact that they act, not quite, the right way, because they don't even know what happened, etc. So you have in your spiritual dimension, you have lots of needs on the social level, because the TV is like on it can be positive, the TV, but the negative aspect is related to distractions, too much more things to do, etc. So we're different from reality. So they were uncomfortable and didn't even want to answer my question. So these are strange friends, because when we are friends, we connect. So you see, the notions of uncomfortable comes twice. You're uncomfortable with the DSSI friend also. So you see these notions of not being comfortable with people, and we will know why after. There will be explanation why you're not comfortable with friendship. It's not always like fair and straight, good relationship. And when I told them about an incident that happened at the downstairs elevators, they don't remember it. So you see, these are aspects of you sometimes that are watching too much TV, wanting too much to zap. You tend to zap very fast. And you tend to separate things also. Two friends that don't know each other, and then a separation between, you tend to zap sometimes. You can be living something important, and then whoop, suddenly you forget about it. You just zap, because what you don't want to see, then you can try to forget it. It's like an autistic energy in you. I told them my story, and I don't know why I had to tell them, because they were there. So here's the story. I had been upstairs by the outside elevator, and three of us had stayed inside. So suddenly, three boards. You see, 3 and 3. Construction, symbol of construction. Papa, mama, a child, notion of construction, expansion. So you see 3 women, and then 3 men arrives. And because they are board chairmen, you see, sometimes you can be very impressed by them, and you can tend to become, you lose your spirituality, you lose your wisdom, because your two friends are supposedly spiritual, and they lose their spirituality. And the boss was foreign with white skin. He flirted with one of my friends. So you see, you can be impressed sometimes by people that comes from other countries, because you can have an inferiority complex, and you create, because they have big job, money, etc. You don't evaluate if they are good people. You tend to be impressed because of social stature. And this is very, very important to understand that, because we can end up marrying the wrong person just because we married someone with a badge or someone with a big job, and we didn't marry a good person. And of course, the person can have a very good job. There's nothing wrong with that. But often we can be impressed by the title, by this, by that, and we forget to connect with the real person. And we can end up sleeping with someone very fast, because we haven't taken the time to go deep in a true, profound spiritual relationship, and we give ourselves too fast. And because we are impressed by the Thai and the good restaurants and aspects like this, and we talk superficially in relationship. The TV is there to talk about that. So I felt uncomfortable with their behaviors. They said that if the elevator drops, it would be fun. So you see, you are like that. So when you flirt a little bit, you can say things that are not really funny. that are even, oh, if this happened, what could I, you can have some humor that are not necessarily always very funny, and that can, tend to play with I lose, I get something, I lose attraction, repulsion. It's like elevators drops. It's like, oh no, we need to love each other because we can die. This is the kind of thing that creates passions, creates overflowing emotions in relationship. And I couldn't believe that the board chairman, which is you, of course, so that can say things like this. And then the elevators dropped, so you see that when you have that form of emotions that are not right on the authority level, when you are too impressed by people, you can eventually become very down to earth. That's why the elevator drops and he goes rolling over the water and drifted to the shore. So you see, you can eventually become so emotional, because you reject, simultaneously, you reject so much the businessman, that it creates so much emotions that it creates a chaos, a difficulties. So you can be extreme. You are impressed, you flirt, but simultaneously you say no, 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 and then frown, and then you break everything, you see? And that is why sometimes we can be very strict, but we don't know we have needs inside. We have the flirt, we have the need. The other part of you is flirting, and they even forget about it, So this is really something that you need to understand. And then I didn't know how come I was still alive, and I came back to the building and asked why, etc. And he was Vietnamese, etc. So you're probably Vietnamese. And he explained to me that he was asked to take part in this testing. So you see, there's all kinds of story that you make up sometimes. That's the TV. You don't see the reality. You can mask the reality. You mask sometimes your behaviors that are not right. You can even tell yourself certain stories that it was not your fault, it was because of this, because of that person, but you don't come back to yourself. And you can sometimes zap so much that you forget the truth and you forget the real thing that happened. So that is quite interesting, quite important also for yourself and your personality. So we are right now, as you know, traveling, and until up to December 4th, we are touring right now in Vietnam. So we're very happy to be here. It's beautiful to be with our friends, and to see also, the evolution step by step of the growth of the teaching here, and it's absolutely amazing. There's a lot of people that are interested in the DSSI and all the different activities. And Dr. Bouchard also is here now until the end of June, so he's making a lot of events, and there's meditation also in different cities, different places, locations, every week, free meditation that are given here. So we have a lot of activities, and we're very, very happy to be here. And we thank all the volunteers and people that are helping the teaching all around the world, of course. Same with Arita and Santosh, that are doing an extraordinary work and mission in India. So we wish you a good continuation in your journey. For those who wish to be part of the DSSI of next year, so the registration are open right now. You can have information on the website of the foundation at ucm.ca. So next webinar will be taking place on December 11. All right. So thank you to all, and I wish you a good continuation, and I wish you some beautiful dreams and beautiful nightmares for your evolution. Because remember that nightmares are beautiful lessons, and they represent only small percentage of who we are. Angelic blessings to all of you.